All right, we'll welcome in on the last half hour of the show. We'll have him on for about 10, 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And it's my pleasure to bring in, we became friends because I broadcast a couple of his fights with the Bella Boxing Promotions in the last year or so. Ryan Schwartzberg out in Dania, Florida, who is a pro fighter and also does the transition, Rich, which is real interesting. I thought why we have him on. It does MMA as well. Now, his MMA career is a featherweight. 1-2-0 is his official record. Been doing that about a year, from what I understand. As a pro fighter, I won't mention the record. He's what you call one of these journeymen that comes in and looks for the upset. Yet he trains hard, has great ability. And not only is he a great guy, and I appreciate, Ryan, you coming on with us tonight. I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. But Ryan's coming off some last couple of interesting fights. And if you don't mind, we're going to roll some video of your last fight, or was it the fight before, Ryan?
Hey, Rich. Thanks for having me on. Rich and Richard, you guys are awesome, man. And I'm so glad that you guys having me on. Anyway, this last fight we're about to roll is against Tristan. He was an amateur champion prospect. I'm coming in here. I'm the veteran fighter, but he's supposed to win, of course. They called me on 1 week notice, and this is what I do. I'm the B-side warrior is what we call, is what I like to call myself. And I just stay ready for these type of opportunities. This is a young guy coming in that sold a whole bunch of tickets that, everybody's looking to see him progress in his boxing career and remain undefeated, but Pro Box, we have a good relationship, and they like I have a nice fan base there, having it be in Plant City, Florida, not too far from my home, but I've given them some exciting fights. I fought there before, so here I am coming back, and I'm giving this kid a run for his money. He didn't expect, these A-side guys, they always get told, hey, listen, he's a former MMA guy, he's going to swing looping punches. But, for me personally, I happen to have lightning fast cat-like reflexes, being the lion, dipping down. I seem to be very hard to hit for these guys because I leave these fights without a scratch. So, in my past 5 fights, I'm barely getting touched. I'm making these guys pay when they miss, and they don't like that. Oh, well, there I am getting a nice headbutt. So that sometimes happens because of my aggressiveness, but that's what, stifles some of these guys. It's my forward pressure, my intimidating, stuttering movement, and I call it rhythm deception. They don't know what I'm about to do next, and it's very unpredictable. So because they don't know much about you,
and they have to. They got to try and find footage about it. But now they'll find footage on you because you're on Pro Box often now on YouTube, and so they'll know more about you now. I didn't know anything about you until I first met you, and I'm glad I did meet you. I think a former fighter there would know more to ask than I do at this point. Would you for a minute, Richard Pearson? Go ahead, Rich.
What caused you to? What made you transition from MMA to boxing, or do you still do both?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be, unaccepting of another opportunity, if it's a good fight. But, I was a good stand-up fighter in MMA, and that took me pretty far. And I did my amateur career as a kickboxer and an MMA fighter, but I was always trying to stand up, And when I did my MMA pro debut, I got choked out, which is okay. I was winning the fight standing up, but then they take me down. My second pro fight, I won by knockout. So, after that, everybody's just starting to try and take me down. And it was for me, it was trying to keep up with the jiu-jitsu game and stuff. But I sporadically just got an opportunity. I got an offer to fight. Hey, you want to fill in a boxing match, this weekend in Orlando? And I just took it, being completely green in boxing. It was actually against a guy named TJ Thompson, who was like he is a killer right now, and he's still undefeated. And which I ended up fighting a guy named Giovanni Estella El Rayo, which he's another 15-0 guy right now. I always fight undefeated fighters.
But you're enjoying boxing.
So,
is
so
what you're
yeah,
saying.
so basically, I got the opportunity to fight in boxing, and my first boxing match was I was very green and stuff, but and now I realize, like, listen, I like to stand up, but now I'm dealing with just hands. I can't even kick and stuff, and I can't grapple. Because when these guys were striking me, I wanted to grab them, and the ref says no, no, separate, box, and
How long?
that.
So you're breaking yourself. That's what I'm getting to. You're breaking yourself out of all of the MMA, the mixed martial arts, the jiu-jitsus, and the wrestling tactics.
Yeah, man.
How long did it take you to get to this point where you're understanding you're now a boxer?
Well, I'm not ashamed of my boxing record. My boxing record now is 4 wins, 12 losses, and 3 draws. And those 3 draws, you can imagine, are all wins. So right there, that's 7 and 12. And about 5 of my 12 losses were controversial decision losses. So I would say my record is more wins than losses, but that's neither here nor there, but it's the experience of being in the ring that's what really got me to understand boxing. Nothing like boxing experience.
And you're 33 years of age, right, Ryan?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Now, Ryan, you're 33 years of age. You got a relatively late start in getting into the flow of things, getting active fights, in boxing more than in MMA. How do you? Rich basically asked you, but I find it very, very difficult to adjust, to see a fighter adjusting in both sports. Though you're doing more pro boxing now than MMA competition, but that cannot be easy for you. I mean, there's a different style in both.
Yeah, and Rich, you're absolutely right. And with full respect to boxing, I've given my full attention to boxing. I'm not doing any MMA fights, and I know I'm going to be boxing, so honestly, for the past 2 years, I know I'm doing boxing fights, so it's been purely boxing minded. So, with respect to the sport, knowing that it takes that type of focus to compete with some of these A-level guys, because I took a string of losses to realize that, took about 5 straight on the road, thinking, just gaining my experience and learning on the road, to people who I think going back, I would beat them now, but that's how I had to learn. But really, it took the dedication to just focusing on my hands and my footwork, and not focusing on kicks and grappling, and stay straight at boxing. And
Do
that's
you
how
have
I've
the
been able
same?
to get.
Do you have the same trainer for both sports?
Well, I picked up a lot of new boxing trainers, such as a coach like Diaz at Diaz Boxing in Boca with Derek Santos. He's a prestigious boxing coach,
I know
and
Derek well. I know him very
yeah,
well.
he
Yeah.
allows me into his gym to work with his guys, and he allows me to get critique. And guys are in there like Chris Algieri, who are watching me spar, and allowing me to work with some of these up and coming pros as well. And that's been one of my biggest blessings to achieve higher levels in boxing, for sure.
So the training is different between the two. Like I heard Terrence Crawford actually spent 6 weeks out in Vegas in the MMA gym training with them guys to get ready for Errol Spence. What is the difference between the MMA training and the boxing training? And why would a boxer go train with an MMA fighter?
Well, when I do go to, like, my home gym, which is MMA Science Academy with Roger Crawl, and he's got a lot of pro fighters there, fighters that fight in the UFC. And when I go there to work, they do all sparring, which is MMA sparring, But I go there when I'm getting ready for pro fights, and a lot of guys like to work with me to work just their boxing, But
Yeah.
when people are working their MMA fights, the difference is they got to work on, like, that blood change, like working the ground conditioning and then standing up. Because I tell you, for a boxer, if he gets tackled and goes to the ground and they grapple around for a little while and then they have to stand up and then they feel that vertical blood shift, they're going to feel dizzy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but if you keep a MMA guy strictly on his hands and feet, you're going to see he's got like a more like a Muay Thai stance. It's getting ready for kicks and stuff. It leaves them very vulnerable to just hand strikes if you limit their hands. So it just puts them in very uncomfortable positions. And for a boxer coming into an MMA gym, they're probably just looking to get as uncomfortable as they can, because that's what it takes to feel comfortable in a ring.
Great insights. Ryan Schwartzberger is a pro fighter and does MMA as well down there in Florida, where it's warmer than it is here up in the East Coast. Rich, we have
Okay.
Scott behind the scenes with Stream Punk Entertainment. I think we have an image or two of you in the MMA cage as well. If we have it, we could put it up. I don't know where I got this from, but I think I took it off your Facebook page. But it goes to show, you're down there grappling on the mat, trying to get control compared to standing on your 2 feet up in the boxing ring. There you go. I don't remember where. I don't know if you could recall that, but that's you
You'll
there
laugh if I
somewhere.
give you the. This is my amateur career. When I was doing an amateur career, I didn't know I was going to become, a professional fighter. I have an amazing story about how I even became a fighter, but I was fighting just as many fights as I can, just to get out of my, head, my depression, and to bring a fellowship amongst a couple brothers. My best friend's brother just committed suicide about 6 years ago. And when he did that, he just opened a gym. And I just jumped into his gym and just started training and just taking fights and becoming his fighter. And right here was one of my amateur fights with the Premier Fight League in Miami, Florida. And this fight was funny. It was just 2 weeks after another fight I did, because I was just fighting, getting experience, and just keeping things, just the momentum of things, making the gym inspired. I just was the guy in the gym that would fight on every show, just for me personally, to get my experience, and because I was tough enough to do it, and why not? Anyway, so right here, this was an early stoppage. This kid hit me and I went down, and he did some stupid little stuff, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting up. And this guy, one of my favorite guys, Ray, he stopped the fight, and I was like, oh my God, come on. So MMA is like that. Some,
it is, and
stoppages in both, but
I'm getting more into it. I was never an MMA fanatic, but now I'm doing it. I'm broadcasting MMA here in the New York area with AMAC Promotions. So I fell in love with it. I really have become a fan of it. The question is MMA over boxing. These two sports are totally different in a way. Totally also, MMA fighters don't make as much money as a pro fighter does. But the training is similar in many ways, the physical part of it. What do you prefer, though, Ryan? Do you prefer MMA fighting or being a pro fighter?
As far you're saying, as far as being pro MMA or pro boxing?
Either one, yeah.
Like, which am I preferring?
Yeah.
I found that there's just more opportunity in boxing. To be honest, I'm going in February, that will be my 20th professional boxing fight. I have no amateur boxing experience. It was all MMA and kickboxing and such, but becoming a pro boxer, this will be my 20th pro boxing match. And there's just, I actually self-manage myself, so I have promoters talking to me all the time about upcoming shows. You're going to fight this guy. And I know that, these are A-side guys, coming up, 4-0, 7-0. I'm about to fight, 8-0-1 Joshua Jones, and, that's the level I'm at now, at a nice 6-round fight. That's perfect for me right now.
Yeah, that fight's coming up at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Small confined arena, used to be home for ECW wrestling. I know it well. February 17th, 6 rounds, super lightweight bout against Joshua Jones. How are you preparing for that?
Sparring. And sparring, and I'm staying very lean. I'm going down to a weight class actually that you mentioned lightweight, which even I'm not too familiar because there's so many weight classes. But my last fight was at 148, and here I go about to do a fight at 138. But I typically walk around at 145. So I'm not, and I'm just a slender guy.
What do you feel comfortable at? Like, where do you feel comfortable at?
140 is my weight because, I'm after my training sessions every day, I'm 143, so I'm a very lean guy anyway. So, I'm not trying to go super. I've never felt emaciated before a fight. I've never had to make that excuse before. I've never in my own right felt that way,
Now,
but now I'm just keeping it nice and thin. So when it comes down to that 138 time, I'll be comfortable around that, so I don't have to feel that. And
Okay.
as far as training goes, definitely dipping into my sparring, lately. I'm doing some weight training as well to, keep my joints strong, but sparring is what really keeps me sharp and just builds my reflexes. Like, so that's what I'm working. I'm trying to find the best training
Yeah.
competition I can.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time I met you last year, and we in the fighter meetings before the show, the Abella boxing show, and I was impressed immediately with your physicality, how conditioned you are. And I was also asking you about MMA and boxing, which you're telling us more about now on the program. I was impressed with that, and the fact is that you train every day.
Yeah.
Richard is Pearson's a former fighter. He didn't train every day. It looks like he still does, though, compared to me. That's not easy to do. Do you do anything else besides the training? And I know I see things on your Facebook and Instagram where you're busy with vegetation or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I stay very holistic now, and I just feel that, if I just keep the wheels turning, it's just easier for me now at this age to just keep it going rather than stop and go, So I'm just staying ready and just not, there are no days off, and I think it's more important to stay ready in the battle of life, the fruits are these competitions I get to do for being strong, so I
Yeah.
just stay strong every single day. And when these competitions come up, I kick it into overdrive and I get it done. I rest, I drink some coconut water a couple days after that, after I fight, but then zoop, boom, right back on the hammer, keeping it going. But
Now, is that Ryan? Is that a title belt you have around about you right now? What am I looking
little
at?
title? There's a little title belt here, just a little amateur belt.
All right, look, it's something you can never be taken away from you.
Yeah,
It's
no,
nice. Yeah.
I have some a couple little memorabilia. I did fight for a nice big gold world title one time, but I lost via split decision. It was a very good fight.
Well,
In my
you are.
amateur MMA
I'm
career.
going to tell you though, you are a warrior. You are a competitor. Rich, any final thoughts for Ryan Schwartzberger?
I'm hoping I'm available to be out there to see him on the 17th. If I'm able to get there, I'll be there.
We'll both be there, Ryan.
Man, I'd love to see you
Congratulations.
guys.
Congratulations. And I'll say again to you that no matter what the record is, you are a warrior and you are a very good example to some that want to get involved in either sport, especially boxing, which is my passion, as everyone knows. You're a great example to that and how it can be done. Guy like you, it keeps it going at your age, doing both sports, more boxing now than ever. And your next fight is coming up real soon. 2300 Arena down in Philadelphia, and it is on March. Let's see again. Get the date straight with me now, because I forget easily.
17th, just next month.
And at the
It's 1 month from
2300
today.
Arena. And you're fighting a guy named Joshua Jones, and that's going to be on Pro Box, right?
No, this is a different promotion. It's Alex Baraswa's.
Oh, that's
promotion.
right. Yeah, I think my buddy Mark Abrams handles a lot of that stuff for him, and I'll be in touch with him about that.
I got to get the flyer.
Yeah, so I can get down and see you. Well, Ryan Schwartzberger, my friend, this has been great. Keep us updated and posted, and the best of luck to you, my friend. I'll be in touch.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for having me, Rich and Richard. God bless you guys. Hey, by the way, I like the way you put the burger on there, Schwartzberg.
Oh, did I say burger?
Yeah, man. But
Well,
I've been called that my whole life, man. I just
no.
Before we have a good one.
My apologies to you, but everyone knows this. Rich Mancuso botches up names, and I don't know why. And there was no pun intended or nothing like that. Your name is really easy to pronounce to me too. How about I call you Ryan Schwartzchamp? Is that better?
That's right. Hey, man, I'm
right.
just grateful to know you guys, man. It's been a blessing, guys. Thank you so much
it
for
in-
having me, and I look forward to performing for you guys in Philadelphia.
And everyone else. And we'll be in touch and keep everyone posted about what's happening with you. Ryan Schwartzberger, not Burger, Ryan Schwartzberg. Keep it
Now
in
you're
the ring,
making me
my
hungry,
friend.
man.
Right.
Thank you guys so much, brother. Thank you
Keep it in
guys.
the ring. Keep it in
Absolutely,
the ring.
sir.
Thank you,
I'll see you
Ryan.
there. I'll be training.
Thank
All
you, my
right.
friend.